Good morning, Michelle. Good
Morning, everybody.
morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's see, Bethany. Good morning, Brianna. Hope I'm saying your name correctly. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning, James. Happy Wednesday, y'all. I love seeing faces. I love this. You guys are all on camera. This is great.
I'm a big fan of the hot air balloon in James' background right now.
Love it. Okay, Ryan, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and then Ryan will let people in as they come in. All right, so good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our Wednesday webinar series. It is great to see so many new faces and also some returning faces. Um, Regardless of like whether you're new or old, we are really happy that you're here. So each week, we come together for 30 minutes at 10 a.m. to connect and share what's working with our schools and districts across California. And whether you're in your office or in your classroom or skydiving, we just appreciate you making the time to join us on this Wednesday. So our goal is simple for this 30 minutes together. We'd love for you to hear something new that sparks an idea, walk away with one practical takeaway, which is guaranteed to happen with Ryan, and then hopefully make a meaningful connection with someone who is here today, whether that's in the chat or you shouting out and asking a question. So next slide, Ryan. All right. So last week we had Kristen Nowak and Hillary Gaddis who talked about how to build a powerful narrative for charter renewal support. And next week we'll be closing out our amazing harmful language series. Dr. Barfield will be joining us one last time just to share with everyone the tools and resources to reduce harmful language, whether that be in your school or your district. So come, bring a friend, bring a team, a teammate, bring your team. It's going to be a really good closeout. And then a quick housekeeping note before I pass it on to Ryan. For anyone that missed the email that I sent out, we've updated the way that we register you for our webinars just to prevent the duplicate emails that you all were receiving. So from now on, there will be one Zoom link that you'll register, and then that'll be added on your calendar, and you can decline or accept if you want to join for the Wednesday. And then if you would like to co-host a future webinar with us, we are actually looking at our 2026 schedule. So if you'd love to share what your school or your district is doing with other schools that you feel like would benefit from hearing your learnings, definitely feel free to fill out the form that I've put in the chat so that we can get you on our webinar. And then next slide, Ryan. Cool. So before I pass it on to Ryan, who, if you guys don't know, he is our technical solutions specialist at Parsec. He is going to be walking you through what is top of mind for everyone right now, the mid-year LCAP update. So he'll walk through the new requirements. He'll share with you all the free resource that we have, which is the LCAP template that'll help you present your updates with confidence. And then we'll end out the session with some Q&A. So with that, Ryan, I'm going to hand it over to you to kick off our webinar.
Awesome. I just have two things to say. The harmful language webinar has been a huge hit. Don't miss it. We have the video if you want to review the previous two webinars. It's been great. And the second thing I want to say is, Mr. D, you better be signing up to do a webinar. You better be filling. Okay, thank you. We need to get some of the Mr. D math love on the webinar series. All right. So guys, I'm gonna go like really focused in on the mid-year LCAP template, what's required, what it looks like. And then I want to make sure that there's a lot of space for Q&A at the end. But if in the meantime you want to stop me to ask a question, please feel free. There is no explicit framework for how to present your mid-year LCAP update. And what we've found is that makes it extra hard because it makes it feel like you're creating something from scratch. And so what we did at Parsec is we took some time to create a PowerPoint presentation or slide deck template that you could fill it in. And I've done partial work here with an actual LCAP so that you can see what it would look like if it were filled in, and how I would go in filling in some of the data using the tools that Parsec has. And then as you guys have questions or concerns or anything like that along the way, or even suggestions on how we can improve the template for those of you guys who have done this now for a couple of years, I'd be more than happy to take that as we go through. So going into the mid-year LCAP update, did I get this in the right spot? So here's the I switched two slides around. You have to forgive me. But the context for the mid-year LCAP update, there's really two requirements for what we're presenting to our board when it comes to the LCAP. So we want to report all available mid-year outcome data related to metrics identified in the current LCAP. So that's going to be if you have your CASP, if you're reporting by percent proficient, that's going to be in there. So for ELA and math, for the LPAC, or for CAST, all of those are available in our tools now and been made available by the state. They're available in DataQuest. And then if you are a DFS reporter for some of those lagging metrics, I know there's other metrics, that's going to be out next week. And we'll do a webinar shortly after on the California School Dashboard, et cetera. If you were one of the strange ones that did growth, so the new growth metric, that will be in there as well. And then, of course, if you want to look at, survey participation, attendance to parent-teacher conferences, all of those things, you'll want to provide an update on those. And the things that you don't have an update for that are still priority, I have some recommendations at the end for how to fill in with some qualitative input that at least lets your board and community know what you've done or how well you've done it and if you're on track. The second thing that you need to report, and I'm less good at this part, is the expenditures and implementation. Well, I'm decent with implementation, but the expenditure component, you need to report the money spent so far, and then how you've implemented your actions in the LCAP. So if something is not even started, you need to say we haven't even started this yet, or it got stuck for this reason. It's really accountability. And the purpose of this is to create a cadence of accountability around what's in the LCAP rather than it just being compliance. That's the purpose of the mid-year LCAP. Does that mean that's what it's going to become? Maybe not. But it is a good opportunity for us to have a more free-form conversation with those that we're responsible to about what we said we're going to be responsible for. So looking at the LCAP, I'm going to go back 2 slides. The first slide in our template, and forgive me for getting these switched up here. The first thing that we have here is just an overview of budget. Any changes in the amount of money that you had, based on changes in attendance that were unexpected, or any changes in maybe they did a revaluation of property and you've got money you weren't expecting, or any of the things that can cause funds to shift based on that 3-year running average. That's where you would report this, just overall, where are we at with our funds for the parents to see, for the community to see. But the first thing that we're doing here in our LCAP is we're outlining all of our goals. Now, I did this for an LCAP that had 5 goals, and some have 6, some have 7, some have 8. Does anyone in here have more than 5 goals in their LCAP? I think that's a big no. People are trying to have as few goals as possible so they can really nail those. So what you want to do is you want to outline those. Let's see here. Oh, that's a good point, Michelle. We're going to make sure we get this template out to everyone after, but having gotten it out to everyone before would have been really also helpful. We'll make sure we remember that for the future. I got distracted there. So we're reporting our goals here. I think it's okay for you to use ChatGPT to simplify the language of your goals. Some of you guys have really complex language and you want to communicate this. The purpose of this is so that the people you're talking to understand it. I didn't do that for all of these, but if you want to do that, just make sure it contains the content and that you're communicating it in a way that the people you're communicating to understand. It's one of the big misses of the LCAP is people don't understand it that are supposed to. Then what you want to do is we're going to go into a goal. We're going to talk about the budget that is assigned to that goal and what we've spent so far. And that's something that your CBO or your team that's handling your finances can give to you. But this is where you're going to start reporting, hey, here's my baseline. That was written at the beginning of your LCAP cycle, where we're at currently, and then your target. So that's going to help everyone see how far you've come and how far you have left to go with these things that you've communicated you're going to be responsible to. If you wanted to, and I haven't done this, but it was something I was thinking about. These are all tables that you'll be able to edit. We're going to give you an editable version that you can make your own. You can add a column in here that shows like difference. And so you could show the difference between your baseline and now to see, hey, we've moved upward, we moved downward, to make that very clear for your whoever's going to be reviewing this with you. The
And
point,
Ryan, sorry, real quick, I did put the LCAP template in the chat room, so you guys can all reference what Ryan is looking at. Sorry about that, Ryan. Didn't mean to cut
and
you off.
make a copy so that you can make a copy for
Yes,
yourself
copy link.
with us. Thank you. And you're just going to continue down with all of the metrics that you have in your LCAP for goal 1. So some of you have 11, some of you have 20 something, but you need to report on all of them. If you don't have data for them, it is okay to put in progress or waiting for X. We're not trying to make another LCAP here. We're just trying to let people know where things are at. Just make sure you have an answer. If you say we don't have an answer for the percentage of teachers who are appropriately assigned and fully credentialed, you want to make sure that you have an answer for that. There are some of your guys' metrics that will have, you'll see here 1.7. And 1.7 is an increase in the percentage of students in grades 3 through 8 and 11 meeting or exceeding standard as measured by CASP math results, disaggregated by student group. It's going to get really messy fast if you try to fit all of your student groups in there. And that depends to some extent on how many student groups you have. It could take up a whole page on its own. What we're going to recommend is Parsec. You'll see here that I have an asterisk next to the all students and then additional metrics in appendix. We've created an appendix where you can fill in the additional student group data. It doesn't have to be all students reported. If you have identified a specific group of students that you want to make sure you communicate about, your students with disabilities, your English learners, your socioeconomically disadvantaged students, your foster youth, your homeless population, any student group that you are really highly focused on, maybe it's because they were in the red on the California school dashboard last time, this is the place to put them. And then you can put additional student group information in the appendix. It has to be here, but you want to be tactful about how you communicate because this is not intended to be like a multi-hours long presentation. It's intended to be relatively simple to go through in maybe 30, 45 minutes with those who are present with you. Okay. So after you report on your metrics, the next thing that you want to report on is implementation, which is a really hard thing to report on because it is a little bit qualitative. It's a little bit subjective too. And so what we've done is we've created a rubric for you. And you can follow this rubric. You can throw it into ChatGPT or Claude or your favorite AI and have it create its own. But this gives us the ability to create a common definition around implementation to share. And so I know if I'm a community member or a board member or a parent and I'm looking at this, and this is all, you can print this too. It can be downloaded as a PDF and print, so you can have this for people to look through in real time and make their notes with a pen and paper. If I see something is partially implemented, I know what that actually means. If I see something is fully implemented, I know what that means. And to show you what this looks like in action, I didn't do all the actions in this goal, but we have several actions, and this is simplified language. But what we've done is we have given it a rating based on what we've done or what we said we're going to do, how we've implemented it, and then what money was spent with that. And as you can see, the ELD standards component is not implemented at all, and we've spent $0 on it. And what this does is this gives your community the ability to ask questions related to what's actually getting done. And you're being forthright and honest with them. So you've created a good place to level set where you're in control of the narrative and you're showing expertise in what's happening. You're showing a level of project management expertise. And at this point in the year, almost everything will be left partially implemented. Very few things, maybe your professional development components will be fully implemented. Maybe your data system or you have an action related to the continuing implementation of your local assessment platform or something along those lines may be fully implemented. But most things will be partially implemented. And you want to communicate that with your team. We're halfway through the year. Most things are still in progress because we're at work on this all year long. Guys, I've gone through a lot so far. Any questions? All right, awesome. So the last thing that you want to do for a goal is you're going to want to say what's next. So we have these things partially implemented or not implemented at all. What's next for you to do? So if we have ELD standards not implemented at all, your primary focus might be complete ELD standards implementation. Now, you've probably already got that done by this time, but it's possible you don't. It's great to be honest about it. It's the only way that we improve. And you want to write what you're going to do. And then this is what you're going to want to be able to report on at the end of the year when you do your end of year review on your LCAP. So again, we're not supposed to have everything done now, but what are we doing next? It keeps everyone in line and focused on the same goals. Any questions here? All right. The goal is be transparent, but it isn't necessarily I need to put in here that I'm going to call this person and they're going to get this training set up and then it doesn't have to be that detailed. Just tell them where you're going and what you're committing to doing based on what you said you're going to do. And that's, if you do all of that, by the way, for each goal, you've completed your responsibilities for your mid-year LCAP update. So you've reported on your expenditures, you've reported on what you've done so far, you've reported on your metrics, you've reported on what you're going to do next. And you're doing it by goal so that everything stays categorically aligned. All right. And then the appendix, just so you guys can see it. And then I have some recommendations that I'm going to go through in a second. The appendix all right, here's the target. All right. So again, if you've got a bunch of metrics or a bunch of different disaggregations in a metric, it's okay to focus on what you said was highest priority and just make sure you leave the data in the back so that we can still have questions about that and people can look into it. Also, Mr. DMath, I think this school system needs your help.
Ryan, there's a
8.1
question in the chat.
question in the chat.
Yeah. So Erica said, Ryan, for those of us who use a Parsec dashboard, would any of this data auto-generate into a presentation like this if we were to use the Parsec template?
Yeah. So the answer is no on that one. We're working on that in Analytics 2.0, some of the like getting the data out in the format of some of these presentations. But let me show you something real quick. It's where I wanted to go next after the appendix. For those of you who are Parsec users, let me go here. And let's say that you're a CASP reporter, because we've got the CASP, LPAC, and CAS data updated. We'll get the California School Dashboard updated next week. What I would do if I was in your shoes is I would go to, the first thing I would do is go to results by student group. And I'm set to met or exceeded as the benchmark level. which is what I want. The percent met or exceeded, it's what I put in my metrics. And then I would just go through, and let me just unselect all, and I would select all students, whatever student groups I've called out in my dashboard. So I can pull that information. I'm going to pull in my reported disability, socioeconomically disadvantaged, English learners, long-term English learners, RFEPs, come down here and go to foster youth. I can export to a Google Sheet, right? And then it makes it really easy to use this data to pull into the platform on the other side. So, and you can do this, run multiple years of data next to each other. So that's how I would look at that data for some of the CAST, LPAC, CAST, and then if we're going into the my chronic absenteeism and all those metrics that will be released next week, I would do something similar, but it doesn't pull directly from Parsec into the template at this time. And Erica, you have access to all of this if you have access to the dashboards at all. And if you want to, another time I can walk you all through that. Yeah, and Andres is really smart with this, so he can help you get it all sorted. Well done. Okay, cool. All right, the last thing I'm going to mention on the mid-year LCAP update, that's the wrong presentation, is leveling up your LCAP. So one of the things that we want to be able to do is be able to report for things that we don't necessarily have metrics on, but matter to us. We can't get into the qualitative with everything, but we want to start practicing reporting the in-between times when we don't have the metrics that we necessarily are looking for. How do we do this? First, we prioritize. So let's say that you have chronic absenteeism as a high priority and you maybe don't have the metrics at the time, or I don't know, you just want to report actually what's happening on the ground level that you're working on. Or you've implemented something new and you want to report on the effects of that, something new. We want to encourage you to start engaging with asking questions for the people that the problem is being solved for. Ask the people you're solving the problem for questions and say, hey, this is our chronic absenteeism data, but we've implemented this new thing and we don't have results from that yet, but this is what our parents are saying about this program. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. And then you can talk if metrics are on track. So if metrics are on track or off track, you can explain why. It's really important to be able to explain the why when you're reporting whether something's on track or off track, implemented or not implemented. So here's an example. So you want to improve student achievement. Your goal was to increase the number of Black, Hispanic, and SED students enrolled in AP courses by 20%. Your mid-year update shows that there was a 2% decrease in enrollment rates for these student groups. Suggested, so you could ask real questions using Parsec Real or really any platform that you want to use. It's going to take extra work because you're going to have to export it, remove PII, and then put it into like ChatGPT with the right prompt. But if you're a Parsec Real user, you can ask these questions in Real and begin to get an understanding of why you saw the decrease. Don't do this for everything. Do this for your priority actions to explain the why. If things went up, explain the why. If things went down, explain the why. Do it for maybe one action per goal is what I would recommend, just as a practice. Because what that gives you in the practice of doing, the habit of doing is not waiting until your lagging indicators are in to draw your correlation, which may not be correlative at all. It helps you bridge the gap in data because the human element, the qualitative is what makes up the time in between the results then and the results now. Okay. And this is my point. Should I collect qualitative data on all metrics? The answer is no. the goals and actions that are of utmost importance. You can't do this for everything. It doesn't matter if you have a tool that works as well and as efficiently as Real does. You can't implement it for everything. There's just too many actions. The LCAP is too big. Just focus on the things that are of utmost importance, because they're going to help you know if something is off track ahead of time, or if it's off track and you're behind, why it's off track. Okay. Ask students, ask teachers, ask parents why. If you're wondering how to do that, Shay, do you mind putting this link in the chat?
Yeah.
We have a tool that you can put in an action and an action description, and it will create questions. Questions and a rubric for you. And it'll say, these are the questions you should ask parents, or these are the questions you should ask teachers, and these are the questions you should ask students. And then it'll tell you how you know if those questions are telling you what those questions are telling you when you get those results. Parsec Real makes it easy because we give you the themes and the sentiment. But if you're using another platform, just reach out to me and I can give you a toolkit for how to do that with another platform. But this is the way that you're going to level up making change, because you're going to be proactive. All right.
Ryan, we have about 5 minutes left.
Perfect. Q&A time. Any questions?
Is the Parsec tool a subscription? Is it something we would pay for to get access to?
Yeah, it is, James. What school system are you with, James?
I'm sorry, with Best Academy?
You guys already have access to it. So if you want to reach out, I'll reach out to you after this, and we'll make sure that you have access, and I can walk you through everything and take it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Of course. Yeah. The more people that use it, the better. Any other questions, guys? Cool.
Ryan, not a question, but I just want to thank you. We love Parsec. We love everything that you do to help us with our data. And I'm lucky to have a principal that's a data queen. So
yeah, absolutely. And I feel like having these like things that are like little additions to the daily work that you have to do and gives it a frame and a structure is just little ways that we help, even in our, like, this has some data in it that's from Parsec, but it just helps with the have to do's.
yeah, you said something important for me that to take away is that really this is about the ongoing conversation and accountability with our board. So we're just taking all the good information that we're doing and we're just putting it into a simplified report to keep that ongoing conversation. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
Yeah.
At all. Like, do the baseline that you are required to do in a simple way. Like, it doesn't need to have the LCAP language. It just needs to have the LCAP intent.
Thank you.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you all. Yeah, and if you have questions, my email, I'm gonna put it in the chat. Or do you mind putting that in the chat, Shay? Because I can never find it.
Yeah, I got you.
And then next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Guys, is that the harmful language one, Shay, again?
No, actually, no, it's actually not the harmful language. I'm so sorry. We have Rob Effa who will be talking about intervention. I think I put in the wrong information. So we'll email you guys the correct title and description and the topic. And then we'll also send a recording of this webinar to you all and the template so you have it. But if you have any questions, you can email Ryan. You guys have your LIS team and your EAs. And then for anyone who's not a partner, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to email the hello@parseceducation.com. But we thank you all for joining us today. Have a good rest of your day, your week, and your weekend. And then we'll see you all next week at Wednesday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.